Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome back to Formula Amateur, where today we are doing the USA race rundown. This race was in Austin, Texas at the Circuit of the Americas. We are talking all about the FP1 session, the only practice session that the boys had, then the sprint qualifying, then the sprint, then qualifying, then the race, and then we have the side stuff. So get ready and let's go. Okay, so we only had one practice session for the USA Grand Prix as a result of the fact that it's a sprint weekend. So let's get into this, shall we? So in the 20th positions, we had Charles Leclerc. He only did 18 laps because he had an issue, presumably with his gearbox. Then in 19th position we had Sainz, who only did 9 laps, but he also had a gearbox issue that got resolved eventually. And then in 18th position we had Antonelli with 26 laps. In 17th we had Gasly with 23 laps. In 16th we had Colapinto with 24 laps. In 15th we had Lawson with 24 laps. In 14th we had Stroll with 23 laps. In 13th we had Tsunoda with 23 laps. In 12th we had Bortoleto with 23 laps. In 11th we had Ocon with 25 laps. In 10th we had Behrman with 26 laps. In 9th we had Hadjar with 24 laps. In 8th we had Hamilton with 24 laps. In 7th we had Russell with 26 laps. In 6th we had Albon with 26 laps. In 3rd we had Verstappen with 25 laps, but he did complain that his car was bottoming, and that has been a theme throughout the weekend every now and then. In 4th we had Alonso with 22 laps. In 3rd we had Piastri with 25 laps. In 2nd we had Hulkenberg with 23 laps. And in 1st we had Norris with 22 laps. So how did they qualify for the sprint? Well, in 20th we had Bortoleto, who dropped 8 positions. In 19th we had Ocon, who dropped 8 positions. In 18th we had Tsunoda, who dropped 5 positions. In 17th we had Colapinto, who dropped 1 position. In 16th we had Behrman, who dropped 6 positions. In 15th we had Lawson, who stayed where he was. In 14th we had Stroll, who stayed where he was. In 13th we had Gasly, who went up 4 places. In 12th we had Hadjar, who dropped 3 places. In 11th we had Antonelli, who gained 7 positions. In 10th we had Leclerc, who gained 10 positions. In 9th we had Albon, who lost 3 positions. In 8th we had Hamilton, who stayed where he was. In 7th we had Sainz, who gained 12 positions. In 6th we had Alonso, who dropped 2 positions. In 5th we had Russell, who gained 2 positions. In 4th we had Hulkenberg, who dropped 2 positions. In 3rd we had Piastri, who stayed where he was. In 2nd we had Norris, who dropped 1 position. And in 1st we had Verstappen, who gained 4 positions. So how did the sprint actually pan out? Well, it was drama all throughout, because within the first turn 3 drivers were out, and those were Alonso, who dropped 14 positions in 20th, or Norris, who could also be classed as 20th, but I have him in here as 19th, who dropped 17 positions. In 18th we had Piastri, who also could be 20th, who dropped 15 positions. They all collided. It was a racing incident because it was impossible to tell who was at fault. It was between Piastri, Norris and Hulkenberg, but where Alonso came up to it was the debris that was flying off the 3 cars meant that he punctured a wheel and could not carry on. But Hulkenberg somehow was able to carry on, but it did still hinder his race. And then in 17th we had Stroll, who dropped 3 places. In 16th we had Ocon, who gained 3 places, but Stroll drove into Ocon, and they both had not completed the sprint race, but Stroll has since apologized to Ocon, as he was the one who caused the incident there. In 15th we have Behrman, who gained 1 position. In 14th we have Colapinto, who gained 3 positions. In 13th we have Hulkenberg, who dropped 9 positions. In 12th we have Hadjar, who stayed where he was. In 11th we have Bortoleto, who gained 9 positions. In 10th we have Gasly, who gained 3 positions. In 9th we have Lawson, who gained 6 positions. In 8th we have Antonelli, who gained 3 positions. In 7th we have Tsunoda, who gained 11 positions. In 6th we have Albon, who gained 3 positions. In fifth, we have Leclerc, who gained 5 positions. In fourth, we have Hamilton, who gained 4 positions. In third, we have Sainz, who gained 3 positions. In second, we have Russell, who gained 3 positions. And in first, we have Verstappen, where he stayed where he was. Okay, so let's talk about qualifying for the main race. So in 20th, we have Hadjar, who did not set a lap time as a result of him crashing into the barrier, and his car was no longer usable. He dropped 8 positions. In 19th, we have Stroll, who had a 5 grid place penalty, but he was out within the first qualifying session, and overall he dropped 2 places from where he finished in the sprint race. In 18th, we have Albon, who dropped 12 places. In 17th, we have Ocon, who dropped 1 place. In 16th, we have Bortoleto, who dropped 5 places. In 15th, we have Colapinto, who dropped 1 place. In 14th, we have Gasly, who dropped 4 places. In 13th, we have Tsunoda, who dropped 6 places. In 12th, we have Lawson, who dropped 3 places. In 11th, we have Hulkenberg, who gained 1 position. In 10th, we have Alonso, who gained 10 positions. In 9th, we have Sainz, who lost 6 positions. In 8th, we have Behrman, who gained 7 positions. In 7th, we have Antonelli, who gained 1 position. In 6th, we have Piastri, who gained 12 positions. In 5th, we have Hamilton, who dropped 1 position. In 4th, we have Russell, who dropped 2 positions. In 3rd, we have Leclerc, who gained 2 positions. In 2nd, we have Norris, who gained 17 positions. And in 1st, we have Verstappen, who stayed where he was. On to the race now. Now, this race was not as exciting as the sprint race was. We only had 1 person not complete the entire race, and that was Carlos Sainz, who crashed into Antonelli, and as a result of him finding out too late that Antonelli has changed direction all of a sudden when he was trying to overtake him. At least that's what he says. So he was the only crash out, and he did receive a 5-place grid penalty for the Mexican Grand Prix as a result, and he dropped 11 places to 20th from where he qualified. In 19th, we have Gasly, who dropped 5 places. In 18th, we have Bortoleto, who dropped 2 places. In 17th, we have Colapinto, who dropped 2 places. In 16th, we have Hadjar, who gained 4 places. In 15th, we have Ocon, who gained 2 places. In 14th, we have Albon, who gained 4 places. In 13th, we have Antonelli, who dropped 6 places as a result of the crash with Sainz. In 12th, we have Stroll, who gained 7 places. In 11th, we have Lawson, who gained 1 position. In 10th, we have Alonso, who stayed where he was. In 9th, we have Behrman, who dropped 1 place. In 8th, we have Hulkenberg, who gained 3 positions. In 7th, we have Tsunoda, who gained 6 positions. In 6th, we have Russell, who dropped 2 positions. In 5th, we have Piastri, who gained 1 position. In 4th, we have Hamilton, who gained 1 position. In 3rd, we have Leclerc, who stayed where he was. In 2nd, we have Norris, who stayed where he was. And in first, we have Max Verstappen, who stayed where he was. In first, taking another win under his belt and getting ever closer to winning the Drivers' Championship. Will he make it? Will he not? We'll just have to see over the next few weeks. So now let's get into the side stuff, aka let's talk about who won the Driver of the Day award, how the driver standings are looking, and how the team standings are doing. So first of all, Driver of the Day was Charles Leclerc for holding off Lando Norris for the entire race pretty much, because for the first half of the race he was holding him up until Lando Norris overtook him, and he went into the pits then to change his tyres because he was on softs and Lando was on mediums. And then not long after, Norris went in to have his tyres changed when he was running second behind Verstappen, and as a result he ended up a little bit behind, so then he ultimately ended up behind Leclerc again, and just before the end of the race he managed to overtake Leclerc again to be in second place. So, but his courage to hold off a McLaren in what seems to be a much more difficult to drive Ferrari is applauded by the audience. So well done to him. And now the drivers' standings. In first, we still have Oscar Piastri with 346 points. In second, we have Lando Norris, who has 332 points. That's a 14 points difference. Then in third, we have Verstappen with 306. That's a 26 points difference. In fourth, we have Russell with 252 points. That's a 52 points difference. In fifth, we have Leclerc with 192. That's a 60 points difference. In sixth, we have Hamilton with 142. That's a 50 points difference. In seventh, we have Antonelli with 89 points. That's a 53 points difference. In eighth, we have Albon with 73 points. That is a 16 points difference. In ninth, we have Hulkenberg with 41 points. That's a 32 points difference. In 10th, we have Hadjar with 39 points. That is a 2 points difference. Then Sainz in 14th with 38 points. That's a 1 points difference. Then Alonso in 12th with 37 points. That's a 1 points difference. Then Stroll in 13th with 32. So that's a 5 points difference. Then we have Lawson with 30 points in 14th. So that's a 2 points difference. In 15th, we have Ocon, who has 28 points, so that is a 2 points difference. Then in 16th, we have Tsunoda with 28 points, so that's no points difference to Ocon. In 17th, we have Gasly with 20 points, that's an 8 points difference. Then in 18th, we have Behrman, who has 20 points, so that's no difference to Gasly. And then in 19th, we have Bortoleto with 18, that's a 2 points difference. In 20th, we have Colapinto, who is still on 0, so that's an 18 points difference. And Doohan, as we know, doesn't drive anymore, so he is also on 0, so that's a no points difference to Colapinto. And now let's talk about the teams. So as we know, McLaren did win the Constructors' Championship, and they are currently on 678 points. And then in second place, we have Mercedes with 341 points. They are 337 points behind. Then in third, we have Ferrari with 334, so they are 7 points behind Mercedes. Then in fourth, we have Red Bull Racing, who are on 331, so they are 3 points behind Ferrari. Then in fifth, we have Williams with 111, so they are 220 points behind Red Bull. Then in sixth, we have Racing Bulls with 72 points. That's a 39 points difference to Williams. Then in seventh, we have Aston Martin with 69 points. That's a 3 points difference to Racing Bulls. Then in eighth, we have Kick Sauber with 59 points. That's a 10 points difference to Aston Martin. Then in ninth, we have Haas with 48 points. That's an 11 points difference to Kick Sauber. And then in 10th, we have Alpine, who are still on 20 points, and they are down 28 points compared to where Haas is. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Formula Amateur. This was the USA Circuit of the Americas, Texas, Austin Grand Prix race rundown, but I'm sure that will not be the title. Thank you so much for listening. Please check out my lovely colleagues on the Be The Change Media Network. Check out BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com. FormulaAmateur.com is on its way as well. Still working on that one. The next race is on this weekend. We'll be in Mexico City, so get ready for that one, and apologies for this episode being a few hours a bit late. This was due to the fact that the race was on so late, so it took a while to fix that up. So apologies for that one. Maybe the same case next week, but we'll see how that goes. Have a lovely rest of your week, and I'll see you on Saturday for another episode of Formula Amateur. We'll be discussing another interesting topic, and then on Monday we'll have another race rundown of the Mexico City Grand Prix. Have a lovely week. Bye.